Hello lovelies, welcome to my channel. My name is Bryony. If you've never been here before, I do cruelty-free and vegan makeup reviews and tutorials on this channel, but you are here so that you can see how I actually did my makeup on my wedding day, and also things that I wish people had told me about doing your own makeup on your wedding day, and all of the mess that can happen, because there's a lot. So stick around if you want to see how I actually created this look on the day. This is done the exact same way as I did on the wedding day, including all of the wonderful tidbits and stories in there as well. So maybe grab a drink, grab a cup of tea, coffee, or a wine if it's, you know, in the afternoon. I'm not judging. We're all in lockdown right now. You might need a wine. I know I probably will very, very soon. So stick around if you want to see how to complete this look. This is how my hair looked on the day. Look how stunning it is. This is how my makeup looked on the day. And this is effectively the sort of base that I started off with, except for the fact that I have some spots now. So my foundation, the exact same as I did it on the day, which is the same as the video I've done previously, except for the fact in this video I'm kind of doing a review and I wanted to share with you some things that I kind of found out the hard way. And I did use my setting spray, which is the Cover FX High Performance Setting Spray 24-hour wear, and I mixed this in with my foundation, so I'm going to do the exact same thing now. Macarena. Hey! Wouldn't that have been terrible if that literally just went across the room then? Oh my god. Bunch of spritzers on there, as you can see. It's nice and moist, damp. Beauty Blender Pro, and then I literally just mixed all of this in on the back of my hand using obviously clean hands, guys. Like, I literally had just cleaned everything as well just before I actually started doing my makeup on the day, and I was very paranoid about things like that. Now, anytime that you're using this sort of technique, you do need to move quite quickly because the setting spray really wants to cling on and set in as fast as it can. So I literally just kind of went to town, and I also went over my ears. I made sure to actually use extra, and I went onto my décolletage as well, so I did all down my chest too because I've got a bit of sun damage there, and obviously you're having photos taken all the time and you don't really want that sun damage to kind of like show a very striking difference. Because I've got large pores, if any of you also have large pores like me, you need to make sure to really press that in, and what I actually did was just kind of move the sponge around and then just dab to make sure that those pores all got very filled in. Time for concealer. e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer. Colours I'm using are light sand, a little bit of medium beige. I know, it's just with e.l.f. like I cannot actually find my exact shade. So it's kind of like a weird chemistry sort of thing you have to do instead. Again, same beauty blender, same dealio, my dudes. But now we have more spots, which I'm grateful for, because if I had more spots on my wedding day, I would have been freaking out way more than I already was. Then I did the same thing I do every time I put on my makeup, which is using the Pixi by Petra. Let me get ready to say this very long word. Correction Concentrate Brightening Peach. Basically, salmon coloured thing to cancel out these blue bags of glamour I have under my eyes. Using my Conceal Your Secret brush from MOTD Causemetics. Why I really wanted to share with you exactly how I did my makeup on the day and how it all worked out, because I think it's important to have like a follow-up like this. And going back in with that 16-hour Camo Concealer, this is in the shade Fair Warm that I use. This again is a technique I use every single day, but on my wedding day I did use a bit more product than I normally do. It looks like a lot, kinda is, and then I just took my beauty blender and I did the triangle of light. And then again, as per usual, just up onto my forehead a little bit. And then over my eyes, because I like to use the concealer as a base. This is obviously a lot trickier to do when I'm looking into a viewfinder, as opposed to like this far away from a mirror, which is what I was doing on the day, because I was just like, everything must be perfect. It's like, you know, Huberta from the Swan Princess? I kind of turned into her a little bit on the lead up to everything, because I was just like, everything must be perfect. I was so afraid. And then to set, I used my Colourpop No Filter Setting Powder. The only shade I could buy at the time was Peach, and obviously like I don't really buy things until I need them. And This is kind of a shot my stash again because I haven't bought anything new since the wedding too. And I just use another beauty blender. I don't like to use a damp one to put this powder on because obviously like when you use a damp one, it's going to create a different effect to when you use a dry one. So it tends to be my old beauty blender that I use for this. But I did do a decent amount of baking under my eye because I was, like I mentioned, paranoid. Let's do our brows and then I'll talk to you about the day. Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow Pomade in the shade Blonde. Should it be pink? Who knows? I did it with blonde on the day. So this is using my number 12 brush from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I was very careful to maintain my eyebrows. I went every single day for the 3 days before the wedding, making sure that I plucked away any strays. So my eyebrows won't be in the best condition now. I mean, I have been careful to make sure that they're still shaped, but they're not in like the I'm freaking out so much I basically was over plucking sort of state, you know? So just using the same sort of brush strokes that you do normally. Now because I have patchy eyebrows, I literally do have to fill in as much as I actually possibly can. And for these brow hairs, what I like to do is I just go in with a few brush strokes and then I literally just brush through the whole thing. And anything at the bottom, I'll kind of create that line again because my eyebrows are very sparse. So our photographer was meant to provide us with 250 photos, which is a lot, that's a good amount. They took 5,000 photos on the day and they edited 1,200. That's also because the venue's stunning, like everything was, it was just better than I can imagine. It's cliched, but it was literally the best day ever. Anyway, so on the day, I wish that I knew how many damn people were gonna interrupt me. Oh my god. This is one thing I wasn't prepared for when doing my makeup. Like, I'm very glad because I started putting on my makeup about 10 in the morning and I was done about 11:30 just because, one, nervous as hell, two, trying to drink as much water as I could before getting into my dress and then having to do that awkward waddle thing, and three, people needed my direction for so much. Like so much. And so that's one thing that you need to factor in because like I'd gone over stuff with the groomsmen the day before about like what's going on the table. I had it all set out in a separate room which was the dining room, and so that should have been like really nice and easy for them to put together because it was like one candelabra per table, one vase per table. One table was going to get the fake flowers that you see behind me. Every single table was going to get a painting that I'd done because that was the placemaker, and every table was going to get 3 votifs, which I'd already shown them. I'd shown them everything. Everything was correctly grouped and organized on this table so they could just grab that. My poor maid of honor, Claire, my god. I felt so bad for her because once like her hair and makeup was done, she was straight away like trying to help them out. I'm so grateful for Claire. Claire, if you're watching this, because I know you watch most of my videos, my god, you saved the day. So many occasions. So instead they found these jam jars that I'd put into the car because they were kind of our plan B option, because originally it was meant to like be a storm on the day, literally a storm. And so I put them in the car and I was like, it's only the stuff that's in this room just on the table and these frames that I put on a chair. Like, it's very obvious, very type A organized, you know? Yeah, she comes through to me, she's like, Bronnie, are they meant to be having jam jars on these tables? And I was like, where do they find jam jars? And they were like, oh, well, there's like a box full of jam jars in the room. And I'm like, the owners of the property, jam, they make jam, a lot of jam. Can you please put back the stuff that does not belong to us and wasn't on the designated table? Like, I really appreciate the help the boys tried to give, but yeah, I definitely learned that I should have just done that stuff myself. And it was the same when I was getting my hair done as well, because like the photographers started arriving, the parents started arriving, people were like coming to me and I was literally shaking. I was shaking with nerves so much, and it's like the worst thing that you can do is like bother the bride on the wedding day. Maybe that's just me thinking it, But like, if someone has a nervous complaint and then you're just like, what can I do? What do I do? Like, I'd given everyone a full breakdown of the timeline of the day. Unique Food Geeks had put together this beautiful food platter. My gosh, it was stunning. All vegan, of course, because the whole wedding was vegan. If you want to know more about that, again, it's in that video that we're filming later on today. No one was eating it, and I was like, go eat the food. We have a schedule to like stick to, so you have to eat the food. Like, just go do it. Maybe that's just me. I think that I'm just someone that when there's a lot going on, I like to be left alone. Normally I'm a red personality, so I'm very emotional, trying to make sure that people are okay, taken care of, that they're emotionally met. Okay, look, I care about you, but also I cannot handle anything. It's like you reach that point where you just cannot handle anything else, and you're just like, I just want you to go do the thing that you need to be doing right now, which is eating. Leave me alone. As I was like shaking, and she was trying to put my hair up, and I'm like literally trying to remind myself to breathe. I was at that point for the whole time. It was terrifying. In the tutorial that I showed you, I did a half cut crease. I did it a little bit differently on the day. So we're going to start the same way with Dogma, and I brought this up in a very severe kind of angle, the same way that I did in the tutorial video I did for you, because I wanted to make sure that we still had this upwards effect going on with our eyes, because no matter what, I always have bags under my eyes, and so it's very important to make sure that I created a lift. And so this is using my Miss Shady Lady brush from MOTD Cosmetics. We were very lucky where we were getting ready as well, because it was in a place with beautiful natural lighting. So I just had myself facing most of the light, and of course it was a ballroom, so that made it that much more beautiful. Now I'm taking my blending bestie brush and Sistina the same way that I did before. Sistina is a wonderful warm salmon pink. And I'm just going over all of that, circular motions again, lifting the colour up, and we're just making sure that we're blending it. Like, I'm very glad that I kind of went with a very simple look. Like, my main concerns was making sure that my skin looked okay, and my liner was the most stressful time. Whew. I was sweating like a pig then, I swear. It's very grateful to be wearing like nice light things, because my god, I was so stressed. We're going in with our Jeffree Star palette. So this is the Jawbreaker palette. Talked about it so many times. It's my favorite palette from Jeffree Star. And taking my well-used color Snack, using a flat shader brush. So because I didn't want to do the cut crease in case I like stuffed it up, I just used my flat shader brush instead to make sure we got the most out of this beautiful, I mean like that shimmer and shine. It turned out so stunning in the photos. I just can't even with this. Like, it's just gorgeous. And so I just placed this all over the lid and took it in and high as I needed to. I used this under the brow bone with the rest of the product. Going back in with our fluffy brush, taking a bit of Sistina again to make sure that we blend these two together. I just kind of dabbed a little bit of Sistina. Oh, that's how I took a bit too much. And then I just made sure to soften out that highlight there. Fluffy brush to get rid of the baking. Just going back in with those same brushes I used before, so Dogma. Just on the lower third. I don't really want to go in too heavy with anything. A Sistina, same fluffy brush. Because this color as well, if you've got blue eyes, my dear, you are in. Taking some more Snack, using an eye pencil brush, and then putting this directly in the inner corner as your blinding highlight. And I must say, my highlight, everything, dang, that was popping on the day. My god. Okay, I'm gonna do the other eye and then I'll show you what I did with my liner. So now I'm using my Cover FX matte setting powder. Now, I use this every single day. I've already got the setting spray in, which makes my face automatically stay in place, but doesn't stop the sweat, the oil, the everything. And I'm a very oily person, so I literally just went ahead and did this all over my face. And I went all the way down my neck. I made sure to do everything because I have these lines on my neck as well, and things can settle in there, so I really like to make sure that, you know, that doesn't happen because that's kind of gross. Time for eyeliner. I didn't have anything else with me on the day because I haven't really been buying stuff because weddings are hella expensive. I'm way less stressed now than I was on the day. But for me, making sure that was high, you know? That was of critical importance to me to get that angle high up so my eyes would not look droopy. Also, this liner, it's a very wet one, so if you open your eyes too quickly, you'll have a little dab gap. So you gotta hella watch out for that with this eyeliner. So now it's time to give ourselves some cheekbones, girls and boys and everyone that wants to wear makeup in between. So, Nabla Cosmetics, this is their contour powder in the shade Gotham and Cameo. This is just using my Supermodel Sculpt brush. And I just go around and I frame my face. And I try and give myself the illusion of cheekbones with a lot of blending. Blush time. Using the same colors that I did use. I tried this out with different colors and I still enjoyed using both of these together, so I'm doing just that again. Using my Get Cheeky With It brush, so we've got Enchanted Mirror and also Floating Lights. Like I've mentioned before, I really like to have a decent amount of blush on. What happened to me the day before, like for 3 days beforehand, I could barely eat because I was so stressed, and also I was getting these insane pains. What happened to me the day before, we were about to go out for dinner, we'd had the rehearsal and everything, and I get crippled by this pain. I could not move. It was hard to breathe. That was so awful. Now, highlighter, using Horse and Carriage and Luster from Makeup Geek. So Colourpop, Makeup Geek, we make them be friends. I was nearly admitting myself to the hospital, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna go to the hospital. I do not care if I'm internally bleeding because we're getting married tomorrow. There's too much stuff to do. At this point, I hadn't done my nails. Like, the bridesmaids and Brandon actually went out to get their nails done whilst I stayed behind with the other boys to do the other setup. I did not know what to do, genuinely. But I was also determined to not go to hospital because I wanted the wedding to go ahead, so I just dealt with the pain, which kept me up most of the night. So yeah, I don't know if I was internally bleeding, but I did bloat like I was internally bleeding. So who knows, I could have had a burst cyst the night before my wedding, just casually. That was fun. Luckily it actually did go away on the day. I was just... The anxiety got me through, the adrenaline got me through. I was still in pain, but it wasn't anywhere near to the degree. It was more like the pain I had earlier in the week. You don't need to know. I'm gonna do my liner and put on mascara and talk to you. We're back, baby. So I literally still have the glue drying on my eyes, but they are fluttery gorgeousness. I know that some people throw shade at Ardell, but these lashes still do the heckin' job and they look amazing and they look stunning in the photos, so whatever. Time for our lips, baby. So this is the colour Skimpy from Colourpop. I luckily did have a sharp pencil on the day, but it seems like all of my sharpeners have kind of decided to give up on me. And when I say all of my sharpeners, I mean the 2 that I own. But I can't buy anything right now because none of us can. Hell, even getting flour at the moment is like impossible. So I literally fill my lips in with this lip liner. And then I just go in over the top with Big Break from Colourpop, which doesn't exist anymore. I am very sorry. So I had a lipstick and lip gloss with me the whole time, but I never used the lip gloss because obviously that way you can actually get a worse effect, so it's not actually all that great. But all I did was I applied a moisturizer to my lips sometimes. I think I had to redo my lips about 4 times throughout the whole day. This is including a lot of kissing photos, anytime that I drank water, which was a lot. Didn't drink enough alcohol, given the fact that, you know, you're meant to be able to get drunk at your wedding, and I couldn't. That was because we were so busy getting so many photos taken. My dears, there are 2 other things I want to raise for you. One thing I wasn't quite expecting too much to happen was the fact that in our photos, because they make you kiss so much, the makeup kind of rubbed off my nose a little bit. I kept my container for my beauty blender, the beauty blender sponge and everything, still had the product on it. I didn't clean it immediately afterwards, but I did have to go back and dab my nose with a little bit of foundation afterwards twice in the day, because obviously there's so much kissing that's happening and they keep making you do like nose touches and like things like that. At least that's what happened for us. So the makeup did rub off my nose, but also, like I said, I'm very oily, but I didn't have to actually like blot my face. There was no oil to do that, and I just had to redo my lips, as in like reapply lipstick, and those are the 2 things I had to take into account. It held up like it could withstand basically anything. It could stand the most critical judgment and everything, and also it looked better than the professional job that I paid someone to do on my beautiful bridesmaids. Now, they looked stunning, that's because they're stunning girls anyway, but let's just say I would not be using that company again. You saw the job that they did on the hair. I used a different company called Belle & Brides, and I will list Belle & Brides down below, because my hair on the day was stunning and it held up against everything, because your hair gets put through so much more than you realize it will on the day, so you need to bear that in mind. My hair curls, because normally this comes out like when I curl my hair, my fringe, and then I had the rest up, so normally this would have flopped, and it stayed. Like, she just did straightener curls and like sprayed it with stuff. Granted, she probably used half a can of hairspray on me, but it held. Everything held. It looked stunning. Make sure that you're still drinking water throughout, because this is the time that you have the chance to do it, because when you're wearing a wedding dress, like for me, because like the dress is such a nice big pretty puff ball. Okay, this is a bit of insight and another thing I wish that people had told me about. You know how there's that trick that you literally go and straddle the toilet and then like you can pee facing the wall instead? You have to take your underwear off and able to do that. Now, I wasn't wearing sucky in underwear or anything like that. I was just wearing my normal regular underwear, because I ain't got money to spend on fancy underwear, because paying for a wedding yourself is freaking hard. You have to like take that off, and if you know how hard it is to put your shoes on and off, try taking your underwear on and off in a train that literally drags like a meter behind you with like meters and meters of tulle everywhere. So I was just like, I have to pee still. What am I gonna do? So literally lifted the whole thing up like a mushroom around me, and because of the train, you have your train swung over you. You kind of cradle it over your arm like this, and then you can pee real easy. And you just kind of like, you know, like when you see someone in the car and it's kind of like that whole mushroom effect? That was literally me, but with the extra train over there. And it was the most precarious but easy thing to do, and I was like, sweet, I got this down. Didn't need to bother any of my bridesmaids. You're welcome. Strong, independent woman. Just saying, all those mermaid dress designs, way harder. Just hoist it and flick it. You're sweet, you're good. More feminine tips for our brides out there, because you can handle this information better than what my husband could when I was telling him about it. He wasn't very interested to know. Can't imagine why you wouldn't want to know how your new bride is able to pee. I hope that you found all of this information useful. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got a whole wedding series on here, so if there's anything else you're curious about all the DIY stuff we did, how we pulled off a vegan wedding, the real costs, because I calculated everything, because like I said, we paid for it all ourselves, and that ain't cheap. So if you're interested in any of that, please subscribe, check out the playlist, I'll have it linked for you, and I'll see you lovelies again very soon. Bye!